Hey everyone! So today, we're going to jump into a short but really powerful passage from the Gospel of John. It's all about what happens when a divine light enters the world, and how that single event basically created two completely different paths for humanity.
So let's start with this big question. What actually happens when the ultimate light, the very source of everything, steps into the world he created? You might think you know the answer, but the response described here is probably not what you'd expect.
All right, first things first. We have to figure out who or what this light is. And the text doesn't mess around. It makes a really bold, really specific claim right from the get-go.
The wording here is so deliberate. The author, John, doesn't just call him a light. He says, the true light. I mean, that right there implies that there are other fake or lesser lights out there, but this is the real deal. And check out the scope. It gives light to everyone. This isn't some exclusive thing for a select few. It's a universal light meant for every single person. So right from the start, the mission was universal. The light's whole purpose was to bring illumination, truth, understanding, life to absolutely everyone. But as we're about to see, just because the invitation is for everyone doesn't mean everyone's going to accept it. And this is where we see that first path. And honestly, it's a pretty tragic one. Because even with this amazing, universal mission, the world's initial response was just rejection. Flat out rejection. You can just feel the heavy irony here, right? John really wants us to get this. The Creator literally enters his own creation. He's not a stranger. The world was made through him. And yet, that same world couldn't even recognize its own maker. It's just a shocking picture of spiritual blindness. And then it gets even more personal, even more painful. The focus tightens from the world to his own, which means his own people, his own nation. He basically came home, and they wouldn't let him in. So it goes from not recognizing him to actively, personally rejecting him.
But hey, that's not where the story ends. Not even close. Because right in the middle of all this rejection, John shows us that another path was possible. This is the path of reception.
Okay, look at this. It just lays it all out, side by side. And wow, the contrast could not be more clear. On one side, you've got the world's response. They didn't see him, and they didn't welcome him. But on the other side, there's this group that does the complete opposite. They received him, and they believed in his name. According to John, this is the fork in the road for every single one of us.
So that obviously leads to the big question. The text says receiving and believing are the keys to this second path. But what does that actually mean? What does it look like? And what happens when you do?
Well, the text breaks it down into this simple but incredibly profound process. Step 1, you receive him. You welcome him in personally. Step 2, you believe in his name, which really means you trust who he is and everything he stands for. And the result? It's not something you earn, it's a gift. He gives you the right, the authority to become children of God.
And this idea of becoming children of God, that's the ultimate result here. It's not just some nice-sounding title. It means your entire relationship with God fundamentally changes. It's like a divine adoption. You go from being an outsider to being a child who belongs in the family. Okay, and this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and it is absolutely crucial. Where does this new identity, this new status actually come from? The text is crystal clear about the source.
So here's the kicker. This new birth, this new identity as a child of God is not a human achievement. You can't get it from your family tree, you can't get it by trying really hard to be a good person, and you can't just decide to make it happen by yourself.
This verse just spells it out, plain as day. John uses 3 different phrases to make sure there's no confusion. It's not from natural descent, your bloodline. It's not from human decision or a husband's will, so not your own effort or anybody else's. No, it comes from one place and one place only. These children are born of God. It's a supernatural act from top to bottom.
So, we've seen these two paths. The path of rejection, which comes from just failing to see the Creator, and the path of reception, a gift given to anyone who believes. It all leaves us with this final, really powerful question. If our ultimate identity as a child of God has absolutely nothing to do with our own power, our family, or our own choices, what does that tell us about where the real power to change actually comes from? The passage seems to be saying it's found completely outside of ourselves.